Hello everybody, and welcome to My Hero Academia, chapter number 363 review. This chapter is titled, Those Who Defend, Those Who Violate. Now, last time in My Hero Academia, we had the seemingly death of Bakugo. After he fought with Shigiraki and after the big three tried all they could, Bakugo ended up getting impaled through the chest, and his heart pretty much exploded and it got ripped out, and Bakugo sort of had a flashback in his inner self with him talking to All Might, and as far as we know, Bakugo is dead. And we start off this chapter with Monoma. Monoma, of course, is using Eraserhead's quirk to keep Shigiraki's quirk at bay while they try to fight this battle. And Monoma thinks back to the Class A versus Class 1B battles at UA, and he's thinking what Bakugo was saying. I made a pledge that I will achieve absolute victory every time. We're taking this 4-0, no casualties. The strong don't settle for anything less. As we see Monoma just thinking this, going, no way, it wasn't meant to go like this. This can't be. As we cut over, as Bakugo's mouth is all bloody and Best Genius is beside him, just like, no, he's got no pulse. His heart is ravaged. As Shigiraki's just standing there in the back, and he's just saying, this time, he's truly dead. Since you took a back seat this round, you turned out to be quite a letdown, Eraserhead. Now then, who's next? As we see Mirio back there, and he's just thinking what he was saying earlier, that until Midoriya shows up, him and the big three, they would protect everyone. And he's just saying it, thinking, no way, damn it, this other monster. As Shigiraki's just standing there, just completely talking smack to all the villains or all the heroes, as we see Mirko is trying to get all up and close, as Shigiraki's just saying, who wants to be another present for Izuku Midoriya? And Mirko caught in all Shigiraki's things, is like, back then, if only I could have murdered you, if only I'd been one hop faster, as we see her trying to just completely destroy Shigiraki when she's not really making any progress. Is Shigiraki, all for one, says, "Oh, don't let it eat you. Don't let it eat at you, Rumi Ushimagawa." So we get Mirko's name here, and he's like, there were so many heroes around at the time. You were hardly the only failure. Heroes are a rare breed now, and the instant you had no choice to throw and whittle down into the front lines, you were so condemned to die. You took the initiative and gave your best, but you didn't come up with enough people or plans. As we sort of cut over back to Todoroki and Ida, where they were fighting Dabi, of course. As we see all of a sudden, Dabi has gotten up again from his flames and from what Shoto did to him last time, as Dabi's standing there, and he's like, given how this worked out, it's actually great I fought you first. Haha, experiencing something just yourself hits differently. Intuition helps when getting the idea of how it works. Before you put me on ice, I took a chance and mimicked your big move. And he says, am I doing it right, Shoto? As we see Dabi now has that same X pattern that Todoroki had on his chest, pretty much heating Dabi up in a way, enhancing his flames even more, because if we remember, Shoto, he used it to pretty much, while he was using his ice, it was a band of fire around him to help heat him up so he wouldn't be as freezing cold, as he's using his glacier and ice powers all together. So we see that Dabi is now up again as he just murders Oima, one of the Endeavor side trick people, as we also see Burn there just trying to tell Shoto to run, as Todoroki just screams and he's like, no, Oima. And he's thinking, it wasn't just sheer firepower, I get it. This whole time, Toya studied and trained his own quirk. My brother's honed instincts are bolstered by his hard work and obsession, as we see, what's his name? Toya just yell up, Skeptic, as we see one of these Nomu things. It has an implant in the back of its head, and it's talking to Dobby. And Skeptic, from up wherever he is, says, I'm busy. Don't pester me, Mr. Daddy Issues. Do you want Endeavor? He's trading blows with All For One at the Ginga Village ruins. As we then cut back to Shigiraki All For One's speech back at the UA High in the Sky, and he's just saying, the eager Izuku Midoriya knew that you can't give villains time to prepare. He was correct to rush the timetable on all of this, even if his efforts still would have been in vain. As we cut up to the sky, very high in the sky, all the way up in space, as we see a satellite roaming around Earth. And in this satellite, we see none other than Skeptic. As Skeptic starts going a monologue of himself, and he's like, the fools at my company tried to cut me like the other losses. They never did have any brains, those vacant skulls in there. Who do you think built this network anyway? Reclaiming authority is child's play to me. Those intellectual lightweights fled around the hopes keeping the company going. Those dullards prove that consideration has taken them too far into the depth of critical thinking. I, on the other hand, can adapt. While promoting Tomura Shigaraki's interest, I shall see Redestro's desires realized across the globe. People will wield their meta abilities as equals. No other factor will determine who gets ahead of me in this world. All will know true freedom and anarchy, marked by the absence of so-called heroes and villains. As we cut over back to some people down on the ground, monitoring the UA High in the Sky, as we see some of the workers inside there, and the computer systems are like, we're been getting errors. Somebody's trying to hack the system. As we see Madeley in there just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? As Skeptic just continues more. He says, All For One, go on, do as you please, as will I. The dregs of the old order mustn't survive the resolution, namely, those who preach and cling to the teachings of the past. They are necessary in the new world to come. As we cut back to the refugee shelters, where all of the civilians are being kept while this war is breaking out on the outside. And we see a teacher, or like a mom or somebody, talking to some kids. Actually, some kids that we know. They were the ones that Bakugo and Todoroki and a few other kids had to deal with while they were getting their provisional license after they failed the first time. It was that makeup test, right? And this teacher's there like, behave yourselves, boys. What if a villain was going to show up? As these two boys are like, don't worry, Sensei. We've got 5 weenies on our side. As one of them says, Bakugo and company as well. And they're like, they're going to win for sure. As we also see Fiumi here, Todoroki's older sister. She's just standing there looking at these kids as we see the 2 All For One implants that we know of that are in UA. We've seen them a few times now, and they're sort of getting an input call from whoever. As we then cut back to the Ginga Mountain Villa ruins, as we see All For One giving a speech of his own now, a true All For One. He says, my side was entirely on defense during that last great battle. In fact, I hear you and yours kept them from accomplishing much of anything. This time, not so much. As we see Hawks is like, it's All For One. As we see All For One's true face, as he says, heroes are those who defend, while villains violate. Behold as we plunge headlong towards our dreams. As we see what All For One actually looked like in his prime, due to a few chapters ago, him taking the quirk drug that resets him back to his previous time. And that is the end of the chapter. Again, this chapter is just 13 pages, not massive chapter, but still a good, decent sized chapter for what we've been getting here recently. I think this chapter has some moments to it that are good. Again, we've got the whole confirmation of, yeah, it seems as if Bakugo is dead, right? And then I really think that Shigiraki's, no, not Shigaraki, Skeptic's speech is really good of, hey, you guys thought you were smart preparing and all, but I will mess you all up even harder than anyone has before. It's very interesting that Toya is still alive. To be honest, I didn't think he'd be done for, but I didn't expect him to just get up straight and just kill Oinma of any people, right? And just after everything that Shoto went through, we've got to face Dabi again, him and Ida. Are they going to end up doing it? What's going to end up having to happen here, right? Are some other heroes from our other countries going to come in? Are other people from Class 1A going to come in? But we've also got all of those villains that were rumored at earlier to be coming, right? So this chapter really just opens up a bunch more questions than anything. Like, is Bakugo really dead? What's going to happen to the people at the UA High in the sky? What's Dabi doing, right? What is Skeptic doing? What are these two people in the UA High, or in the UA Barracks doing, right? And then what are his All For One? What is going to be his role going forward in all of this? It's just very interesting, and I don't really have anything else to say about this. We did a chapter outline, and All For One's design is exactly what I think everybody's expected it to be this. I don't think anybody expected it to be anything else. So yeah, that's all I've got to talk about, and this is Glowplasma231 out.